Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, January the 2nd. A lot to talk about this morning. The potential for a snowstorm this weekend in the mid-Atlantic region. Another big storm early to middle part of next week. That one looks like primarily rain and maybe some heavy rain and damaging winds along the eastern seaboard. And then by the middle of the month, it looks like a widespread Arctic outbreak can come into the central and eastern states. So a lot going on here over the next couple of weeks, and we'll get into the details right now and talk about all the players on the field and what I'll be looking for over the next couple of days as we try to hone in on the details for this upcoming weekend potential snowstorm for the Mid-Atlantic region and parts of the northeastern states. Here we are looking at the 500 millibar height anomaly pattern from last night's 0Z run of the GFS. First of all, let me just run through very quickly. We've talked about at length the likelihood for an active southern branch of the jet stream this winter. Now we're into the month of January, and we indeed have an active weather pattern. Really started in December with multiple heavy rain events for the Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. As much as 8 or 9 inches of rain fell in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, with the combination of at least 3 big rain events during December. And going forward for the next few weeks, we have a very active weather pattern with this active southern branch of the jet stream. Again, let me just run through real quickly here and watch all these blue areas, these below normal heights, these potential storm systems just push all the way through the southern states. It's just one after another here as we're moving forward here. And again, this is partly as a result of the El Nino in the Pacific Ocean that is quite active indeed. Now let's go back to the beginning time frame here, and we'll go through this slowly and into the details for the upcoming weekend event. Again, so we have an El Nino in the tropical Pacific Ocean. It is kind of shifting. It's kind of a hybrid. We talked about that shifting now from an eastern base to a more centrally based El Nino, and it is certainly adding some humidity. Overall humidity levels are quite high where the southern branch of the jet stream exists coming into the southern part of the U.S. Here we are starting the day here with a low pressure area off the eastern seaboard. Now we'll move forward here pretty rapidly again as we have a lot to talk about. Late tomorrow night into the day on Thursday, there'll be kind of a combination of a system dropping south and east across the Great Lakes and one near the southeastern U.S. coastline. It certainly can drop some rain or snow showers in the Mid-Atlantic region late tomorrow night into the early part of Thursday. Not a big deal. However, this system ends up playing a big role in the weekend event here. We'll talk about that here as it kind of coalesces, that northern system with the southern system coalesce into one big storm. And here it is right here, moving to the north and east. So again, not a big deal at all in terms of its precipitation amounts for the Mid-Atlantic region late tomorrow night into early Wednesday. It phases together well off the eastern seaboard, but again, it'll play a big role. Notice where it moves. It moves up to what we typically refer to as kind of a 50-50 low. This is 50 degrees latitude, 50 degrees longitude, not too far from the Canadian maritime province of Newfoundland. And those of you who have watched my videos over the past few winters know that one key factor I always look for snow in the I-95 corridor region is high pressure across southeastern Canada. You really need that high to anchor in a cold air mass. It's one thing to get cold air into the I-95 corridor. It's another thing to get it to be sustained, to have an anchoring high pressure area right here over southeastern Canada to maintain that cold air once it comes in. And this 50-50 low helps to do that. We'll see in a moment here on the surface maps. Indeed, strong high pressure will build across southeastern Canada late this week, and that'll play a big role, adding to the possibility of accumulating snow in the big cities of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, this weekend. Here we are on Saturday afternoon, and here is the upper level low associated with what will become a very strong storm near the Mid-Atlantic coastline later in the weekend. Here it moves to the north and east, tends to dampen out a little bit as it moves to the north and east, and that could play a role, let's say, up across Boston. May not get the snowstorm up there that you actually get down the I-95 corridor. More on that over the next few days. That is certainly not set in stone. And then, just as an aside here, we won't focus on this right now. We have another big storm system coming to the eastern states in about a week's time. This is next Tuesday. This looks like a warm event. It looks like I wouldn't say warm, but warmer event that will likely result in some heavy rainfall along the eastern seaboard and potentially some damaging winds. This far out, 7 or 8 days away, it really is sending red flags that there could be some very strong wind gusts right along the eastern seaboard. Could really be an ugly situation if indeed we get some significant accumulating snow this weekend, followed by heavy rain next Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. But that is what is on the table right now, and that will pass off to the north and east, and ultimately we'll get a widespread Arctic outbreak here, dropping from Canada into the central and eastern U.S. It reaches the eastern states certainly by the middle of the month. Now let's walk through the GFS 850 millibar temperature anomalies going forward. Again, we're looking at this North America viewpoint. Some cold air in the eastern states as we begin the day here on Tuesday. By the way, all of these maps from tropicaltidbits.com. We'll move forward here, and one thing I want to point out is, again, by the time we get to Thursday, this is Thursday midday, early afternoon forecast map, on the backside of that, what will be a weak low pressure area over the Mid-Atlantic coastline, but then it intensifies significantly well off the eastern seaboard on its way up to just north and east of Newfoundland by this weekend, and it will leave behind a cold air mass. This is some 48 hours or so before the storm begins in the Mid-Atlantic region. Let's say Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. This is just 48 hours before that, and it does tend to dissipate here on this GFS model run. I think perhaps a little bit too quickly on this particular model run. We'll talk about that too in a moment here. Here we are now. By the time we get to Sunday morning, there is some colder than normal air all the way across the Midwest and into the Northeast, and by this time low pressure will be situated off the Mid-Atlantic coastline and moving more east-northeast rather than north along the New England coastline. Again, it looks like it'll move more of a east to northeast fashion, partly as a result of that 50-50 low, we call it, up here over the northwest Atlantic. Now, let's just move forward a little rapidly here. And again, in about a week's time, next Tuesday, the 9th of January, could be heavy rain along the eastern seaboard, and maybe damaging winds associated with that system. And the passage of that system does not yet usher in that widespread Arctic cold. That waits a few days, and here we are now headed towards the middle of the month. And look at this. We'll just go out to the middle of the month. Here we are. By the time we get to Saturday the 13th, just look at this expansive area of not only below normal temperatures, but in some cases far below normal temperatures. This certainly is looking more and more likely here. Again, we talked about the stratospheric warming event that is continuing as we speak right now. It is began in late November, and it's kind of going on a different appearance right now, with a lot of warming right over the North Pole region, way up here, and that will unleash some Arctic cold into the middle latitudes from the high latitudes. And in this particular case, looks like headed for the central and eastern states by the middle of January. Now let's go through the surface forecast maps from last night's 0Z run of the GFS. Here we begin the day here with low pressure off the east coast and a cold day, seasonably cold day here in the Mid-Atlantic in the northeast U.S. And then we get into later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Again, there'll be one system up across the north, a weak system, another system down across the southeastern states, and the combination of the two can certainly produce some rain or snow showers. DC, Philadelphia, New York City, throughout the Mid Atlantic region, late tomorrow night into early Thursday. Not a big deal at all. However, with one low up here and one low down here, they end up coalescing or phasing together well off the East Coast. But that intensification and phasing together of these two systems, again, will play a big role in the weekend event, kind of setting the stage for the potential of accumulating snow in the big cities of DC, Philadelphia, New York City this upcoming weekend. Here we are, and we can see this system on the eastern side of this map here really starting to intensify on its way to that position north and east of Newfoundland by the upcoming weekend. And notice what's going on right here late Thursday. Back up a little bit here, and just wanted to point out that on the backside of this system here, we have this kind of a flow of air right along the eastern seaboard. Indeed, it pushes in a cold air mass from southeastern Canada all the way down the eastern seaboard. Again, this is less than 48 hours away from the precipitation arriving for that particular weekend event here. Now let's clear the deck here and proceed here, and wanted to point out that with the intensification at this time, and this is now by Friday afternoon, cold air sitting over the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. at the end of the week here. And notice a little frontal system right here, and that is partly as a result of that positioning of what we call the 50-50 low, and indeed it plays a key role. Notice this high pressure right here over south central Canada again. Those of you who have watched me over the years know I always want to see a cold Arctic high, Canadian high over the southeastern part of Canada to enhance the chance that the cold air not only will be in the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S., but will be able to be sustained, and that's a key. If there's no high to the north, you can start off with snow, but it'll liable to change to rain in the big cities. And somewhere between the mountains just inland and the coast this weekend, there will be that rain-snow line. So it's something we have to monitor closely over the next few days. But again, going forward into the upcoming weekend, here we are on Saturday morning. This is what you like to see. If you like to see snow in that I-95 corridor region, certainly on the northwest side of the I-95 corridor region, building high pressure in southeastern Canada that will help to maintain the cold air as a load of moisture pushes north and east out of the southern states. And here we go. It may begin Saturday afternoon across D.C., maybe by late afternoon across the Philadelphia area, and then into New York City. Now, there will be, looks like there'll be a reflection of low pressure pushing into the Ohio Valley, giving way to the Mid-Atlantic coastline low pressure system. And this is some of the details that have to be worked out over the next couple of days, how this evolves here. It looks like by this particular time, now this is late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and the center of the low pressure area on this particular model run is right here. Notice a reflection farther to the east. And again, this is the operational version of the GFS. If we take a look right now at the ensemble run, we talked about an ensemble run where the initial conditions are varied by a little bit, just making a little bit colder, a little bit warmer, a little bit drier, a little bit wetter. And this is the ensemble run of the GFS at that particular time, that same time. It matches well with the operational run with the surface low pressure area right over the eastern side of the Delmarva Peninsula. However, take a look here at the European model. If I can just clear the deck here. This is the, again, the GFS ensemble run, and this is the European, a little bit to the east here at the same time. And again, this may not seem like a big deal, but this little difference in the location can certainly be a big deal in that range snow line from being right over the I-95 corridor, or just to the south and east, or just to the north and west. So again, some details still have to be worked out over the next few days here. I tend to favor a little bit farther to the east with the GFS. I think it may be favoring that Ohio Valley system a little bit too much here, but these are one of the things we'll monitor. But again, notice this high pressure over southeastern Canada will move forward here, and by this particular time, low pressure will coalesce, intensify. Even if there is a Ohio Valley system, they'll coalesce into one storm system off the Mid-Atlantic coastline by early Sunday morning. Again, it does not appear that it'll ride up along the main coastline, rather more of an east-northeast fashion, again, because of this high pressure over southeastern Canada and that upper level low over Newfoundland area. And with this east-northeast track, any kind of rain in, let's say, southern New Jersey or Delmarva Peninsula can change to snow. As this pulls away, that colder air will kind of push to the south and east, so there certainly can be some lingering snow during the day on Sunday with this kind of a storm track, and it continues to move to the north and east. How much reaches Massachusetts, Vermont, even Maine, a little bit in question right now, and certainly the snowfall amounts are still in a state of flux along the I-95 corridor region, but all in all, snowstorm is on the table for parts of the Mid-Atlantic region this upcoming weekend, and then we'll move out here. And with this east-northeast movement, again, there will be some lingering snow throughout much of the day on Sunday. Finally kicks on out of here, and we'll just move quickly into the next week. And again, there may be enough cold air for some snow at the beginning. Upstate Pennsylvania, we're a week away right now. We're talking next Tuesday, but with this main low way out here to the west, it looks like warm air will surge up the eastern seaboard. This could end up being a heavy rain event in areas that may get snow cover this weekend. And again, just take a look at this pressure gradient pattern. These are very tight isobars. That tells me a week away that we could have some damaging wind gusts in the eastern states. So it could get pretty ugly if we have some snow cover this weekend, and then heavy rain event. It'll go out a little bit farther. Look at all this heavy rain right along the eastern seaboard. And again, this does not necessarily bring in that widespread Arctic cold. It certainly gets colder behind it, but the real widespread Arctic cold may wait a few days, maybe after this system. We notice here a lot of cold air by the time we get to the middle of the month, and it will spread into the eastern states here. And these thicknesses are really telling us here that this is indeed going to be a quite cold air mass here by the time we get to the middle of the month in the central and eastern U.S. So a lot going on. We'll have a lot of details to iron out over the next few days. The bottom line, there is the potential for a snowstorm this weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region and parts of the northeast U.S. Certainly the odds favor accumulating snow in areas just to the north and west of I-95, and certainly down across the coastal plain, let's say from southern New Jersey to the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula. Rain will be a big issue, but even there it can change over to accumulating snow by the time we get to the day on Sunday. And again, over the next few days, I want to watch. One of the key players will be that building high over southeastern Canada, and we'll see if that is maintained in the computer forecast model runs over the next few days. So again, a lot going on. Maybe a big rain and wind event in about a week, and then some widespread Arctic cold by the middle of the month. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian, and stay tuned to ArcfieldWeather.com later today for an update.